Okay, and we're live. Well, welcome. This is Dieter Staudinger, first officer here at FearlessFlight, and I'm welcoming you to our pre-Christmas show here at FearlessFlight Live, our weekly live show for anyone and everyone who is nervous or afraid to fly, or just would like to know a little bit more about aviation, psychology, and what's going on in with Fearless Flight. So if you are waiting for Capt Ron, he is actually flying right now as we speak. He is wheels up somewhere between Phoenix and Las Vegas, and with a very VIP person. I don't know if it's a VIP coaching, but he is patrolling the skies for Santa. So um, he wants to wish all of you who are watching a very Merry Christmas if you celebrate it, or happy holidays, and however you may celebrate, that you hopefully took that flight or are gonna take that flight to see family and loved ones and get to be enjoying, right? Meaningful, beautiful time with friends and family. So tonight we're gonna keep it fairly short. I just have a couple of things that I would love to share with you. And first of all, I'm gonna just check one thing real quick, and I'll be right back with you. I just gotta update the page here. And one of the things that I wanted to share is if you're not a member of our Birds of a Feather Facebook group, you are really, really, really missing out. And the reason I say this because literally just 3 hours ago, I came across this post from Mallory, which it just, yeah, it really exemplifies the spirit and the transformational power that our Facebook group really has. And if you have been with us and you know about the Fearless Flight method, you know there are three legs to that stool that we have. The first one is education, right? You got to learn more about airplanes and flying, and you got to learn a little bit more about the psychology of fear of flying. But more important, you got to learn how to actually empower yourself so that instead of the dreadful thoughts that are on repeat that you feel all over your body, now you actually can start a more empowered experience of yourself. So that's education. But then often when anxiety hits, as you know, we gotta actually just be able to manage to interrupt, right? We gotta be able to stop um, this runaway train, and so learning tools and techniques that help you do that. That is the second story, and then the third one is actually connecting with other human beings. And this may seem strange at first, but I'm gonna put it to you. Maybe you can put it in the chat. Um, when you think of, flying and being nervous, and I think about sharing that with others, I think there's always this element of being embarrassed, being ashamed, and trying to keep it in, right? Uh, and it's a very normal, natural human thing. However, it's not a very helpful and healthy healthy trait, particularly when it comes to something that can really, really, really mess up your life and your plans. So connecting with other human beings, people who can actually really get you or have been where you've been, and then can provide you with support, encouragement, and inspiration. That is one of the most powerful things. And so Mallory, 3 hours ago, she posted um and literally said, I just wanted to get on here to hopefully inspire someone that is deathly afraid of flying. Hello, me. Because back in February, she posted about being scared to take her first flight in many years, and it was also a flight that she had to take by herself. And so it wasn't a very long flight. I think it was about an hour and a half. And somebody, I'd love to hear who, but somebody actually purchased the Fearless Flight kit, which includes the Fearless Flight harmonizer for Mallory. And well, in her words, she listened to it and it transformed her entire life. And don't take my word for it. Go to the Birds of a Feather Facebook group and read the post. But what I wanted to share was so since then she's been flying been on 24 flights, and that's all since February. So, I mean, that's life-changing for sure. So she's been to Italy, Belize, San Francisco, Dallas, a few times, San Diego, and I think the next flight is Seattle. And thanks to the Birds of a Feather group, and having faith that God would carry her through, she actually changed her life. I mean, to me, it's mind blowing. And there's this amazing picture in a Facebook group as well, of her family and her on the flight, and she also, just being real, said that there were many times where she had gone to her seat before February and then gotten off again. I think she even stood up her boyfriend flying to meet his mom. So think about the kind of embarrassment, the kind of shame, the kind of, how hard she probably was on herself. And so she turns around and she wants to pay it forward. So that is just like, to me, it's a perfect Christmas story, actually. And maybe Mallory, if you're watching this, or if you hear about me sharing your story, maybe in the group you can add a little bit more. But I mean, there's, as far as I know, when I checked, there were a tons of likes and comments on that post, and I really wanted to share that because Capt Ron and I, um, we realized that we call it fear of flying, but the reality is that there isn't just one fear of flying. The reality is there are about as many fear of flying versions as there are people being afraid to get on an airplane or be on an airplane. And so, kind of like coming to the second thing of tonight, um, we have so many people that say to themselves, I know flying is safe, but I just can't figure out why my body is freaking out, why my mind is freaking out. There's got to be something wrong with me. And first and foremost, there is nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. And most people, I'd say the overwhelming majority, are really smart, capable, and often quite successful adults. And fear of flying, though, really gets to them. And so that's why I wanted to talk a little bit about something that we are going to share um, at the start of the new year, and it's our flight anxiety profile survey. And because fear of flying, you may have noticed, it's not a logic problem, it's a nervous system problem, right? And with my background in um, psychotherapy, having had my own private practice for, gosh, since 2006, so almost 20 years, it's the hardest part is really how confusing this can feel, um you feel fine at home, you're perfectly okay, and then the moment you start thinking about having to go on that flight, having to book that ticket, all of a sudden the anxiety just keeps pouring in. And that's where Captain Ron and I both, um in our own way, I think, came to that conclusion. Well, if people aren't afraid to fly in the same way, but if people are treated the same for fear of flying, um, it's not surprising that a lot of people, come to us and say, well, nothing works for me. I've tried everything, but everything is usually just a couple of things. And often that includes alcohol, medication, and, maybe some other ways to try and forget what's actually happening. Um, so that flight anxiety profile survey that we created, um, we wanted to have you um, answer, or actually just share with us how you resonate on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 is totally, 1 not at all. 40 statements, right? And those statements are really just thoughts that we tend to repeat to ourselves um, when we are thinking of flying or on an airplane, and all of a sudden the plane starts with turbulence or whatever it may be. And so we wanted to give you actually kind of like a self-assessment tool that isn't overly technical, but a mix of being really practical, but then also teaching you about your own anxiety and your body, how how you roll with your anxiety, which means your unique way also has unique answers, right? And so it really isn't a quiz or anything like that. It's not a diagnosis. It's really more of a map, and the survey helps you kind of locate you on that map, and then gives you a path, um, and the path, in the end of that path, hopefully, is both the clarity and the understanding of how you can support and empower yourself to get on that flight, stay on that flight, and maybe feel a little bit of that anxiety still, but feel that you can manage it, and that it doesn't crush you, it doesn't shake you the way it has before. Okay? So um it's kind of like recognizing on that map where your little shadows hang out, and then being able to shine that flashlight in such a way that you can make your way through. So, and in order to do that really well, we created the 8 different types. And I'm not gonna get through all 8 here, but all I'm gonna say, they're not random. Um, they are very much in alignment with the 8 anxiety, flight anxiety patterns that Captain Ron and I over the years have discerned, kind of like that people are sharing. And so it's a we had this group of beta testers. Actually, if you were a beta tester, I'd love to hear from you. Um, Maybe if you've taken the survey, because we on the 27th of December we have a webinar just for the beta testers, and then so we're getting ready for January to present it to all of you. So, but most importantly, fear flying, it's about our nervous systems and how our fear kind of lands in our bodies, and what we need, right? You might need some reassurance. The next person, they they don't necessarily need reassurance. They just want to feel a sense of control. Um, Whereas the third person over there, they just need to figure out a way to just calm their body down, and then they could get through it all by themselves. So, and that's why we created the flap survey, because we wanted the tool to match your fear and give you that path forward. So it's really built around you, really, ultimately. And so it shows you the pattern, and it shows you what you can do about it, how your nervous system gets activated, and how you can calm yourself, calm your body, and take the next step, right? And because understanding really does create a sense of safety, right? Um, you can finally say, oh, this is what my body does, or this is what my mind does, and here is why. And it's like, I don't have to fight it. I actually just have to roll with it by implementing whatever it is, whatever tool, whatever strategy actually might work best for you. So um, I just really wanted to kind of like give that overview, because the flight anxiety profile is, I think there's nothing even close out there. There's some, self-assessment tools like the Myers-Briggs, the Big Five. What else is there? The DISC. All these different kind of personality tools. So we're not so much concerned putting it in a box. We're more concerned having you look through that lens that actually, really puts into focus what that path, where you are on the map, and what that path forward is for you. So as we're wrapping up our Christmas edition, I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting Captain Ron and me for pouring our hearts and pouring all of our efforts into helping you reach your goal, which is hopefully um stepping into the next greater version of yourself, which doesn't mean you're going to be fearless right away, probably, most likely not, but that you are stepping more and more confidently on that plane and have one positive experience after the next, so you can build on that. And like I said in the beginning, our Birds of a Feather Facebook group is a great place to ask for help, to ask questions. And if you're somebody who is already well on their way to mastery, that you actually turn around just like Mallory and offer to share your experience and offer to pay it forward. So um, flying isn't just about traveling, and that's why it's so important to me to point that out. It's about our own courage. it's about our own hopes, and it's about in a way meeting new horizons of who we are. And gosh, my wife Rebecca and I, we were so blessed and fortunate. We traveled a ton this past year, and lots of different flights and different airlines, big planes, little planes, North America, Europe, Central America. So it really just, like Mallory said, it opens up and changes your world. And all I can say, if you're not quite feeling it yet, stick with us. These free weekly Fearless Flight live shows are really designed to give you a broader overview. We have monthly Cleared for Takeoff 101 classes, both in Phoenix, but also online, right? So even if you can't come to Phoenix, you can definitely sign up for a free Cleared for Takeoff 101 class. We have our monthly group coaching webinars, which are really deep dives, and not so much about education, but really more about transformation. And so Captain Ron and I really, really, really wanted to say thank you for your support. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for sharing our site with other people that are nervous or afraid to fly. Because believe it or not, um, conservatively, there are about 60 million people just in North America who are nervous or afraid to fly. And so from both of us, Captain Ron and I, thank you, and we wish you a peaceful, gentle Christmas if you celebrate it, or any other holiday celebration that you might undertake with your family and loved ones. And we hope that you have a great start into the new year. But we actually have one more show, I believe, before the new year. Actually, that may or may not be true. Let me just double check this. Yeah. Um, the next Tuesday is the 30th. So, if you have the time, would love to have you back next Tuesday at 6:30 Pacific, for another edition of Fearless Flight Live. And once again, super grateful for you being here, and thanks so much, and have a great Christmas and